Hello, I am Pramod Kumar. Today we will study English for class 12 Bihar board. Our book is Rainbow Part 2 and the chapter is Sweetest Love I Do Not Go by John Donne. Right? This poem is grounded in deeply religious sensibility, right? And the main theme of this poem is that even if the narrator of this poem dies on his journey for which he is starting, it is not to be feared by his beloved or wife, as true lovers will always be together in spirit. So what is happening here? The poet or the narrator is living for a foreign land about 1611. About 1611, the poet or the narrator is living for a foreign land, leaving his wife or the beloved behind. So, his wife or the beloved is concerned. It appears that this poem was written by the poet for his wife and mover when he was leaving for going abroad in 1611, right? So, to the wife, it appears that separation and death are same. So, when she is facing separation from her husband, the narrator, she thinks it is equal to something like death. If he is going, he may not come back. So, this poem has been written by the poem to assuage her fears, to comfort her, to console her, right? सांत्वना देना, comfort करना from emotional state of mind. In this poem, the poet expresses his consolation to his wife or beloved on his departure when he is leaving for a foreign country. Neither of them want to be separated. Neither the poet nor the poet's beloved or wife, they don't want to be separated, right? So, how does the poem start? The poem starts like this. Sweetest love, I don't go for weariness of thee, nor in the hope the world can show a fitter love for me. But since that I must die at last, it is best to use myself in jest, thus by feigned deaths to die. Right? The poet says, my sweetest love, he is addressing his beloved, I am not going away from you on account of being tired of you, on account of being bored of you. No, I am not going away from you right now because of being tired, because of being bored of you. No, that is not true. Nor in the hope the world can show a fitter love for me. I am not going away from you hoping that the world will give me a better love, a better beloved, better than you. No, I am not going for that also. But since that I must die at last, it is best to use myself in jest, thus by feigned deaths to die. But he is trying to prepare his beloved for his eventual death. Finally, everybody has to die today or tomorrow, the day after. So he is trying to prepare his beloved, his wife, for his eventual death, whenever it comes. Someday, a person has to die. So he is trying to prepare her for that. But since that I must die at last, finally someday I will die, it is best to use myself in jest, thus by feigned death to die. Right? Since someday I have to die, it is best to use myself in jest. Jest means in good humor, in good spirits. Once I have to die, someday I need to be in good spirits. Thus by feigned death to die. Here the poet proposes deliberate rehearsal for death. The poet, by writing this line, thus by feigned death to die. The speaker is proposing deliberate rehearsal for death. What he is doing, he is trying to rehearse death in advance, because he knows someday he will die, but his beloved loves him so much that she will not be able to bear the pain. So he wants to convey to her the truth that someday everybody has to die. So he is doing a rehearsal of his death in advance in order to psychologically, mentally prepare his beloved for the truth. Yesternight the sun went hence, and yet is here today. Last night the sun went down, means evening, the sun sets, right? So last night the sun set, but today morning the sun is back. Last night the sun went down, sun set, but today morning the sun has arisen again. It has come back. So the poet says, he hath no desire nor sense. The sun has no desire, no sense, no emotion. Even then, the sun has completed such a long journey within such a short time. So, I am a person who is having desires also, sense also, sentiments and emotions also for my beloved, for you. So I will be able to complete this journey, which journey on which I am going, much faster than the sun completes its journey. You got my point? The poet says, the sun has no desire, no sense, no emotion, no sentiment. Even then, it has come back after completing its long journey very shortly, very fast. But I have got lot of desire, sense, emotion, sentiment for my beloved you. So I will be able to complete my long journey faster than the sun. He hath no desire nor sense, nor half so short a way. Then fear not me, but believe that I shall make speedier journey, since I take more wings and spurs than he. The sun has no desire, no sense, and not half so short a way. Then fear not me, don't worry about me, don't have any fear about me, but believe that I shall make speedier journey. You please believe that I will make faster journeys, since I take more wings and spurs than he. The poet says, I have more spurs and wings. Those spurs and wings are of what? Desire, sense, sentiments, emotions for his beloved. So those will help him complete the journey faster. Oh, how feeble is man's power, that if good fortune fall, cannot add another hour. It says, the poet says, man's power is very weak, very feeble, right? That if good fortune falls, if we come across some good fortune, cannot add another hour. We cannot add an additional hour to our life. Suppose we come across some good fortune, can we add another hour to our life? to enjoy that fortune for a longer time? No, we cannot do that. So he says man's power is very weak, nor a lost hour recall, but come bad chance. Opposite of that, if we come across a bad time, misfortune, nor a lost hour recall, we cannot get back an hour which we have already lost. Right? The poet also means to say that during happy hours, fortunes, we don't share our happiness with others. But during misfortunes, we are very quick to share our grief, pain, misfortune with all others. Right? And we join to it our strength, and we teach it art and length. When bad fortune comes, misfortune comes, we join all our strength to it, and we try to share it with as many people as possible. But we don't share good fortune. If we share good fortune, more people will become happy, right? But we do the other way around. We share misfortune, bad fortune with others. When thou sighest not wind, but sighest my soul away. When you are sighing, S-I-G-H, you are not sighing wind out of your mouth while sighing. You are not sighing wind. What you are sighing? You are sighing my soul away. Means it is difficult for me to tolerate seeing you in pain, trouble, discomfort. The poet doesn't want to see his beloved or wife in discomfort, in pain, in agony. So he said, when you sigh, you don't sigh wind away. You sigh my soul away. I feel that my soul is dying when you are sighing out of pain of separation. So please don't sigh, don't cry. Right? When thou weepest, unkindly kinded, my life's blood doth decay. He says, when you weep, when you cry, thinking about separation, my life's blood doth decay. My life's blood perishes, comes to an end, decay, destruction. Decay, destruction, right? It cannot be that thou lovest me as thou sayest, if in thine my life thou west, thou art the best of me. Then the poet says, if you waste my life in your life, then you become the best of me. For me, you become the best. If in thine my life thou waste, if you waste my life in your life, thou art the best of me. You are far better than me. You are much ahead of me. Let not thy divining heart, he calls his beloved's heart as divining heart. Divine means godly. The poet calls his beloved's heart as divining heart. Let not thy divining heart forethink me any ill. Please don't imagine any bad luck for me. The poet feels that out of anxiety of separation, his beloved or his wife fears that some bad fortune will befall him, the poet. You will find that when people live on long journeys, their family members are very, very under fear. They are under fear of what? Unforeseen circumstances, that something bad may happen. The more a person loves you, the more the person will feel about this. It arises out of intense love, that fear of loss, fear of separation, fear of something bad happening. Let not thy divining heart forethink me any ill. Let not your godly heart imagine or foresee any bad luck for me. Destiny may take thy part, and may thy fears fulfill. It could happen that destiny is with you, with your thought process. Means it could happen that due to chance, due to destiny, your words, your fears may come true, and may thy fears fulfill. Your fears may come true. What are the fears of his beloved? That something very bad may happen to the poet when he is going away. Destiny may take thy part, and may thy fears fulfill. It could happen that destiny is on your side and your fears get into reality. Something bad may happen to me, the poet says. But think that we are but turned aside to sleep. But the poet says, I urge you to think that we are going in bed for the night and we are sleeping by our faces turned away from each other. Suppose I am lying on my right side, you are lying on your left side, that's all. But think that we are but turned aside to sleep. We are going to bed for the night and we are sleeping on different sides. I am sleeping on my right side, you are sleeping on your left side. They who one another keep alive never parted be. Those people who keep each other alive. Suppose two people are in love with each other, they love very much each other and they are dependent on each other, emotionally, sentimentally, all kinds, then they keep alive each other. One lives due to the other lives due to the first. They who one another keep alive never parted be. Those people who keep each other alive, they are never separated, right? Means there is, even if they are separated by death, their spirits will unite, they will be together, right? So in this poem, we'll take 2 minutes. This poem is grounded in deeply religious sensibility of the poet, and the central theme of this poem is that even if the poet dies on his journey, he is going abroad. As we discussed, it is of around 1611 when the poet was leaving his wife behind and going for a foreign country, right? Even if the poet dies on his journey, it is not to be feared. His beloved should not fear his death, because true lovers will always be together, if not in life, as spirits. What is spirit? Afterlife. Right? Afterlife. In this poem, the poet expresses his consolation to his beloved on his departure. Neither of them wants to be separated, right? And the poet here says he will make speedier journeys than the sun, because the sun doesn't have desires, senses, emotions, sentiments, but the poet has got lot of desires, senses and sentiments, emotion for his beloved. So he will be able to make faster journeys, right? And he urges his beloved not to sigh, not to cry, not to weep, because it is very difficult for the poet to bear seeing his beloved crying or weeping or sighing out of pain of separation. In the last stanza, the poet assures her that since he and she, they keep each other alive, nothing can separate them. They keep each other alive, so nothing can separate them. And though he appreciates her fear, that it could happen that destiny makes her fear come true. What is the fear? The beloved is having the fear that the poet may meet death on his journey and may not come back again to her. He appreciates that she fears what might happen to him on his journey, and he even accepts that she may be right, beloved may be right. Destiny could side with her, right? Destiny could side with the fearful beloved. She is afraid, she is full of fear, right? And the journey could end in the traveler's death, but no separation. Those who keep alive each other, they never become parted, they never become separated. If not in this life, physical life, they remain united as spirits, right? In afterlife, it indicates afterlife, not this life. Okay? I hope you found it easy to understand, comprehend. In case of any query, please do approach me on my email ID, which will be there at the thumbnail to the video. Thank you very much.